Hey guys, it's Corey with 10 Best Ones, and today we've decided to review the 5 best options for you. If you'd like to see their price and find out more information, you can check out the links in the description down below. Let's get started. We are going to start this list with the best budget option that you can get your hands on.
Number 5. TCL 50S535. The TCL 5 Series S535 2020 is a mid-range TV in TCL's 2020 lineup, and it's a good upgrade over its predecessor, the TCL 5 Series S525 2019. It's a QLED TV that displays an excellent wide colour gamut for HDR content, but it doesn't get bright enough in HDR to deliver a true HDR experience. The TCL 5 Series 2020 is a good overall TV. With a VA panel, it has an exceptional contrast ratio that displays deep blacks, making it a great choice for watching movies. Despite not having many extra gaming features like VRR support, it's a great gaming TV because it has an incredibly low input lag and a quick response time. It isn't the best for watching shows or sports with a large group of people because it has narrow viewing angles. Lastly, it displays a wide colour gamut for HDR content but doesn't get bright enough in HDR to bring out the highlights. Full array LED with 40 contrast control zones can bring superior light uniformity and better contrast vibrancy on the screen of the TCL 50S535. TCL's 50S535 is completed with AIPQ engine. AIPQ engine is able to optimize the color, clarity and contrast of the picture delivered on the screen of this TV. It also brings smart 4K upscaling to bring better upscaling results for non-4K content sources. HDR10, HLG and Dolby Vision are already supported by TCL's 50S535, so we can enjoy enhanced details and expanded contrast from a wide range of HDR content sources. It doesn't come with built-in mic for voice control, but we can indeed control this TV using Roku mobile app installed in our smartphones. The response time is a bit slow with darker transitions, which may lead to some motion blur, but there's no overshoot. This TV has an incredibly low input lag, and it's much better than the TCL 6 Series R635 2020. The TCL 5 Series 2020 is impressive for watching movies. It has an exceptional contrast ratio displaying deep blacks. It has a full array local dimming feature that performs fairly well, and there isn't much blooming around bright objects. Overall, it's definitely one of the best budget TVs in the market, without a doubt.
Next up, we have a model which gives you the best value for your money.
Number 4. Hisense 50H8G. The Hisense earned high marks earlier this year for delivering excellent colour and contrast performance with a generous assortment of features at an affordable price. Like most of today's TVs, the TV stand is comprised of 2 blade-style feet. Unlike many TVs that provide one set of feet locations situated at the far ends of the TV, the H8G Quantum has a narrow placement option as well. The H8G Quantum offers 4 HDMI 2.0 inputs with 1 supporting ARC, but there's no eARC available. There's also no support for variable refresh rate, VRR, or auto low latency mode, ALLM, both of which are features that gamers should be on the lookout for with next-gen consoles coming later this year. Under the hood, the H8G Quantum has a VA-type LCD panel with a full-array local dimming or FALD backlight system. The combination of these two should help the TV achieve deeper black levels and minimise halo effect, which produces rings of light around bright objects on a dark background. The use of the VA panel also means that off-angle viewing will not look very good. Colours wash out, the contrast takes a big hit, and you can more easily see the backlights in action, all very typical. Speaking of, the H8G Quantum supports HDR10, Dolby Vision and HLG HDR formats. Hisense also claims the TV supports HDR10+, but I was never able to get it to work on Amazon Prime Video, which is my only source for that particular format. Sitting directly in front of the TV, I was surprised at how well the backlight system controlled the dark areas around bright objects, especially in HDR modes. You'll find almost every app you could want on the Hisense H8G Quantum series, along with popular streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus and Amazon Prime. You can download plenty of apps for cable cutting, Sling, YouTube TV, free content, Pluto and Tubi, studio content, HBO Max and Showtime, and working out, Peloton. There are also a number of games you can download and play using your remote or Android TV gamepad. This is the best Hisense TV to date.
This next model is the best option for gaming, and I think that this would be a great fit for any type of gamer.
Number 3. Samsung Q80T. Samsung's premium-priced mid-range QLED barely puts a pedestal wrong, offering vibrant HDR, a forward-facing feature set, and HD upscaling to die for. It's inevitable that the Q80T, which features an FALD or full-array local dimming backlight, is not going to be the slimmest flat screen on the shelves, but for most buyers the extra bulk is going to be worth it. Samsung's designers have gone some way to mitigating this extra depth by framing the panel with a ridiculously minimal bezel, creating the illusion that pictures are magically hanging in the air. The Q80T has a fairly standard array of connections, although it's worth bearing in mind that Samsung hasn't included headphone sockets on its TVs for some time now. You're expected to use Bluetooth instead. On the subject of VRR, the FreeSync format used by the Xbox One X and One S is supported out of the box, while G-Sync is apparently coming soon. The Q80T's peak brightness is rated at 1500 nits, which is just 500 nits lower than that of the Q95T, and still very bright indeed. There are rare occasions when playing an HDR video that the Samsung's vibrancy seems a touch exaggerated. The Q80T sounds solid, and the degree to which the sound isn't restricted to the TV is impressive. That said, we would avoid the adaptive volume feature, which introduces a little fuzz to proceedings. Adaptive Sound Plus is definitely worth using though, as everything sounds quite small scale without it. While the Q80T looks fairly conservative, it actually boasts a rather radical sound system. Rather than just relying on downward-firing stereo drivers, Samsung's designers have added a second pair at the top left and right of the display. This enables the screen to produce a soundstage that's both high and wide. We're not talking Dolby Atmos immersion, although if you want to bitstream that out over HDMI to a waiting soundbar or home cinema system, you can. But we're talking about an impressive wall of noise. The Samsung Q80T gets just about everything it sets out to do right.
Before we talk about the best model overall, let's look at the runner-up for this list.
Number 2. Sony X950H. The Sony XH95 or X950H is a huge improvement over last year's Sony X950G or XG95. This year's model sounds significantly better and makes a number of usability improvements while keeping the same great picture performance. Prepare yourself for a rather involved unboxing experience. There's a ton of plastic clinging to the X950H, presumably to protect its gorgeous glossy design accents. There's also a glut of paper in the form of product manuals and setup guides, stuff I usually suggest tossing in the recycle bin. Once the TV is set up, you'll likely admire its form factor. The X950H doesn't have an especially thin profile due to its full-array local dimming backlighting system, but its bezels are almost non-existent. Sure, it's still a black slab in your room, but it's a classy one. Sony doesn't discuss how many zones its TVs have, nor does it like to talk about its peak brightness measurements, claiming in both cases that the numbers don't necessarily represent performance. I agree to disagree, but for grins, I did measure the X950H's peak brightness in the custom picture mode at about 980 nits. For those who don't know their nits from their mitts, that's a very respectable number. The bottom line is that the X950H is more than sufficiently bright to deliver an excellent HDR experience while maintaining excellent black levels, all without crushing out low light levels. Working with the two down-firing speakers at the bottom of the TV, these two added speakers pull off some impressive tricks. Sony has some backlighting magic going on and is really the only TV manufacturer I'm aware of that manages to make zone count almost irrelevant. The fact that it's difficult to count the backlighting zones in the X950H is a testament to that fact. The Sony X950H offers excellent picture quality, surprisingly good sound, and a solid smart TV experience. Its picture processing improves the viewability of all sources thanks to excellent upscaling and the ability to clean up low-bit depth content.
Finally, the next model is the best overall. From us, it gets a perfect score in all categories.
Number 1. LG OLED 48CX. As you might expect, the OLED 48CX looks like a mini OLED 55CX. Perhaps disappointingly, that means it also looks like last year's C9. LG has chosen not to alter the appearance of its C series between the 2019 and 2020 generations. While OLED panels themselves are extremely thin, a TV is more than just a panel. The speakers, connections and processing bits and pieces still need to go somewhere, and on an OLED they tend to go in a plastic enclosure attached to the back of the panel. That means that even though the CX is just 6mm at its edges, much of its chassis is 4.7cm deep. That's still thin by modern TV standards, but not by a huge margin. The flagship processor is the 3rd generation version of the Alpha 9. The main upgrades are to artificial intelligence, with features such as AI Picture Pro, which LG says will enhance the resolution and sharpness of contents by an algorithm learned via an LG deep learning technique, and AI Sound Pro, which provides the optimal sound or virtual 5.1 surround, depending on the watching genre. Throughout testing, we find both features to be worth using. LG's 2020 OLEDs support the new Dolby Vision IQ format though, which tailors the Dolby Vision performance to the ambient light in the room. The picture produced is an absolute joy, beautifully crisp, natural and detailed, with perfect inky blacks, the likes of which haven't previously been available from a TV this size in the 4K era. The same can be said of the viewing angles, which are practically perfect. In our testing, this reduces treble brightness and produces an overall smoother, more dynamic and more direct sound. There are plenty of people who want the best TV possible but don't necessarily want to go for big, and those people have been rather left out through the 4K TV era. Finally though, we have an OLED TV smaller than 50 inches, and what a TV it is. Buying guide. Firstly, screen size. Perhaps the most important choice you're going to make with a new TV is the size of the screen. TV screens are measured diagonally, and they range in size from smaller than 20 inches to larger than 80 inches. However, not many people shop at the extremes. Televisions going into kitchens or small bedrooms might measure just 24 to 32 inches, but if you're shopping for your primary TV, we recommend going bigger, say a set with a 50 to 65-inch screen. You could consider an even bigger set for spacious family rooms, or if you'll be sitting very far from the TV. Secondly, resolution. These terms refer to the TV's native resolution. A regular high definition or HD set is also called a 1080p model because its screen resolution is 1920 by 1080. That means it has 1920 pixels horizontally and 1080 pixels vertically, so it contains roughly 2 million pixels in all. Think of pixels, short for picture elements, as the tiny individual dots that make up the TV's picture. Ultra-high definition or UHD TVs, also called 4K TVs, have screen resolutions of 3840 by 2160, so they contain 8 million pixels, or 4 times the amount of individual pixels as an HD set. And thirdly, viewing angles. Despite many improvements, most LCDs still have a fairly significant shortcoming: limited viewing angle. That means the picture looks its best only from a fairly narrow sweet spot right in front of the screen. We recommend checking the viewing angle by watching a TV from off to the side and from above and below the main part of the image. As you move away from the centre of the screen, the image can dim, lose contrast and colour accuracy, or look washed out. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you found it helpful, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this in the future. If you have any questions related to these products, you can leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.